Hello and welcome to One North Maine BCA's magazine show, where we profile people, places, and events that make our city great. Today, we're talking about the beautification of Brockton, and we have many events to cover, including Keep Brockton Beautiful Day, the Garden Club Expo, and a special green ceremony at Finnegan Park. So sit back, relax, and see what your community, the City of Champions, has to offer.
Keep Brockton beautiful! This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
So I took the ladder and I put it against the tree and I climbed up, right? While I'm up there, so then this one I woke
Hi, my name's Lorene Desimone.
I'm Peg Kearney, the other co-chair of the Garden Show for 2017.
This is a bumblebee. Just about anything with the name bee in it, you want to have in your yard. Bumblebees, honeybees, mason bees, solitary bees, carpenter bees, because they are good pollinators. It's actually at the membership table. Today we're going to do some live demonstrations on designing and planting the beautiful containers.
My name is Leanna Rujo, and I am the manager of the Garden Center in Dighton. The first step is the soil. You don't want loam because it's too heavy. A nice airy potting soil, and you'll see ours here. That's nice and light and airy. It has a little moisture to it. It's not bone dry. It does not have fertilizer in it, okay? So be careful with some of the soils that have fertilizer in it. If we get a lot of rain, it'll release more fertilizer than it needs, and it'll burn from the roots up. This time of year, I like to use something with substance because the daffodils might not be in color yet. The tighter that you use the daffodils and the tulips, the longer they're gonna last. Some would break the roots on the bottom. If you break too far up, you're gonna break the taproot and the whole thing's gonna go kaput. And just gently pull them apart. So you have two clumps. We've got some alyssum, a beautiful early spring. It's almost like that Easter bonnet, little girl type of flower. Thank you, everyone.
This is a really good example of art in bloom. We have 14 different pieces by Brockton public school students, most of them middle school and high school. And each one of these pieces is interpreted in flowers by a local floral designer. There are a lot of aspects to this. In this piece, you can see how many different colors and shapes there are. What the designer tries to do is to pick up, see all these swirls here and all the different colors, the square of the container, the sticks that are sticking up that mimic the straight lines. When you look at a piece of art in bloom, you're looking at the same piece of art, just in a different medium.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Lewis, and I'm with the Wollaston and the House Neck Garden Club, Master Gardener, and I'm really happy to be here. I designed the sketch of Freckles, and I figured that since it was a 16-year-old that did it, I kept it in the style that a young person would appreciate. So lots and lots of things, CDs and electrical wires and curly cues, tulips and amaryllis.
You are looking at a painting done by a Brockton High School student, and her name is Samantha Maynard. And I was assigned this at random, and I have to say I fell in love with her lady, and I wish I could meet that student because it is so expressive, so rich, so full of drama and romance and whatnot, and I did the very best I could in interpreting it in flowers, which is exactly what the Museum of Fine Arts does when they do Art in Bloom, or Worcester Museum. But the Brockton Garden Club is able to do it here for our citizenry in our community. So as you walk up and down the aisle, you will see some wonderful work done by truly talented individuals. I'm just a beginner in this area. I'm a dirt digger. Give me dirt, give me dirty fingernails, and I'm happy. But this was a challenge because I so love this girl, and I love the artist. Whoever she is, she's magnificent. Someday I will spend big money to buy her art.
Plants are like people. You have to have frequent waterings in order for them to thrive. What happens is that most of the root zone is within the first 6 inches of the soil profile on most plants, and those feeder roots are what's picking up the bulk of the moisture. When you get drought, like we had last year and the year before, there's lack of moisture, so the ground dries out and those root hairs start to die back. But also what happens is you start to get soil compaction because the air that's in the soil profile starts to shrink because you're not getting water infiltrating in there and puffing up the soil and having it dry out and collapse. So there are a lot of problems that happen when you run into a drought situation. If you've ever dug up a plant and you see clumps of soil around the roots and it's stuck to the roots, that's aggregates of soil. And there's actually been some research going on right now where the root system of the plant and these mycorrhizal fungi communicate together, and that fungi actually store water in the aggregates in the soil profile that can enable a plant to draw on that water supply later in the season.
This is an aphid. Aphids, everyone knows what an aphid is, yes? Everyone has seen aphids. They could be red, they could be black, they could be green. This is also a class about reproduction. I know, shocking. Because of the way this insect reproduces, it reproduces asexually, and basically the minute it lands on your young, tender growth, these things come because they have this little piercing, sucking mouth that wants to take all of the goodness out of the plant. The way they reproduce is asexually, quickly, and by the multitudes. The best tools that you have in your arsenal of tools to protect your yard are actually your eyes. So I suggest that every evening you take the beverage of choice and walk around your garden and go, oh, that looks good. Oh, ho, ho, this could be nasty. And you can just squish these little guys.
We've been planning for at least 6 months, and we start looking for vendors before Christmas so we can get good quality vendors to come, and that's the hardest part, is soliciting the vendors and getting them to answer us. Throughout the whole room, 2 different cafeterias, both green and blue cafeterias. We have 50 vendors selling, they are selling all sorts of items.
Toffee sauce, that sounds good.
It is good.
You make it?
I make everything here. I made this all in the last few days. I make everything fresh for the markets. Hi, I'm Amy Bradford of Bradford Farmhouse Toffee. I am the owner and chef of all of these goodies you see here. I make caramels and toffee, all in very small batches, all from my licensed kitchen in Middleborough, Massachusetts. Wool felt, which is wool roving. I can give you a sample of that. It's this little fluffy stuff here that gets dyed. And my little kitty, it can make little animals. This one is done with needles, needle felting. People call them barbed wire needles, but they're basically just notched needles. Very sharp. I have a lot of holes in my hand. But it is fun and it's relaxing because you're constantly going like this with a needle to push the fiber in.
About 15 years ago or so, my wife was on a vacation in Florida. I was teaching schools still, and she had gone away for a school vacation, and I stayed home because I detest Florida. And so I said, well, she was gone. She said, oh, I made you a present. She said, oh, what'd you make? I said, a birdhouse. She says, oh. So she come home from Florida, and I showed it to her. She says, that's not a birdhouse. She says, that's a bird mansion. A friend in church said, oh, can you make one for me? And another friend in church says, can you make one for me? And so I started making them for friends and family, and that was Now I'm up to number 1209. I take apart old furniture, and that's where these decorative columns come from. And I'll take old chairs, baby cribs, picture frames, tables, anything that has a turned leg, I will take and add it to my birdhouse.
We're selling compost today by Black Earth.
My method of composting, the bread oven method, it makes you think about the compost pile like a bread oven. See, you have an interior core where all the action is going. That's moist and it's heated in there. And it's heated because on the outside you have a large, thick layer of leaves or your brown material, and that's the part that you don't disturb. When you want to add something to it, you open a door in that layer, the insulating blanket layer, you get at that core, you put your food scraps in the core, then you close that door back up and let it do its thing for a week. Following week, open it up again, add stuff to the core, close it back up.
We have scholarship. We have a booth just for scholarship that's selling pansies and some other items.
The Garden Club has many committees, and this is one of them. For example, this is our scholarship committee. We raise money. We give away at least 1 or 2 scholarships a year to a deserving senior that's going into the field. Today we have pansies. We're selling them individuals so more people can buy them.
They're all hand painted with outside paint, so they'll last for a few years outside. Yeah.
And the headwear that you're wearing, did you make that or tell us about that?
No, we made them. They're all made of organdy, and then you burn the edges so that it curls up, and they have studded with pearls in the center.
Yeah, I should probably get my
North Quincy.
right across, right there is my house.
Oh, really? I'm Rob May with the City of Brockton, Director of Planning and Economic Development. We're working on our urban agriculture plan, so we've come out here to the Brockton Flower and Craft Show to ask people where do they garden in Brockton, and also if they have chickens. We are also talking about a tree program where we're trying to green gateway cities with the Commonwealth. So if you live in, the Campello neighborhood, you might be able to qualify for a free tree planted by the state.
JME Pet Vet is a low-cost veterinary clinic. We have everything we need here right on the truck. We do surgery, spays, neuters, small mass removals. We do dentistry. We offer veterinary services such as vaccines, sick visits, everything in between. Instead of having a really big building that houses a veterinary clinic, we are here in a mobile unit, and that saves on costs, and we can pass those costs down to our customers and their pets.
This is a home movie that was taken in the late 1920s. Mr. Fields was a very bright businessman, and he got hold of the WPA, and they dug all the ponds that are in DW Field Park.
Whew, the sun's finally out. And I'm telling you, the flowers are in bloom. We're in downtown Brockton. We're taking a break from the Garden Club Expo. We're going to be checking out Keep Brockton Beautiful Day. This is where the city comes together as a whole and cleans up our community. Let's check it out. Hey Zach, where do you plan on going today?
Well, right after we give everybody their equipment, I'm going to stop by, visit a few, and help out at the different locations. One of them will probably be DW Fields Park, where we have a large group from the Garden Club that's cleaning up there, and then go over to Snow Park. I know that we have Bill Hogan, who's organized a huge group there, and then over probably to Keith Park. So we have a lot of big groups that are cleaning up throughout the city, so I'm going to stop by and help them out a little bit, see if they need anything, and then come back here for a cookout with them later on today. These are this year's t-shirts, and these are some of our sponsors on the back.
Genesis story is Councilor Greg Miller was having a meeting, citywide meeting, and the big complaint was the city was dirty. There was trash everywhere, so we got together a group of Jack Units, Mike Thorson, Pat Sullivan, Greg Miller, and we put this together and we started, did it around Earth Day. And the first one was about 1,000 people, and we've been pretty steady ever since, and it's always been a great time every year. Weather was it's usually a nice day. Today's a little under the weather, but I'm thrilled at the amount of people that are here now and getting their tools and everything to go out and do the cleanup. So we're looking for, even though the weather's a little bad, we're gonna have a great day.
So we are the South Shore Lemonade chapter of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. We offer service to all communities south of Quincy down to New Bedford. So we're happy to be here and be part of this community effort to network and to engage and to commune with other like-minded individuals. So we're excited to keep Brockton beautiful today.
Hey, if you see us coming by the mall, make sure you honk.
I have under 30 t-shirts and a bunch of cleanup materials ready to go to Eggers, Salisbury, and we finished Charlie to Taglia Park last night.
Cutting the rose bushes so they're in smaller pieces to shove them inside of your bag, and because they don't fit in very well, and it's less work to try and push them down in when they're little than when they're large. Otherwise they don't fit very well and you can hurt your fingers.
We're here at Keep Brockton Beautiful today with a beautiful person who's always out there
Thank you.
helping people with the garden club.
Right.
The garden club's all over DW Field Park today, right?
Yes, we are. We are prolific. We are wired to do the right thing. We're going to be beautiful by the end we get through.
I love it. And it's amazing when we were watching you clip.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
I know.
because this is what you do. This is
Yes.
what you love to do.
This is called experience.
One length out all the way to the truck. One length out all the way to the truck.
Hit the record button.
Oh, this is a good way to do it.
What's new over here? You were just explaining to me off camera.
Yeah, we have every year the garden seems to grow a little bit. Everybody knows that the Wave Kids did our welcome gates a couple of years ago. Last year we put in a little memorial corner for Carl Yancey, you know, the young man that was struck and killed by the hit and run driver. We had 2 Jones who passed last year, and we have a little Joan memorial garden. And then someone came and put in a fairy gate in the garden. So we have a fairy gate, so when the kids come and they paint the rocks and decorate the rocks, and so now we have a little fairy gate for people to watch and see if anything magical happens in the garden.
Well, this garden is done with a lot of love and a lot of dedication on a regular basis. We had a good crew here today.
We do have a good crew, and remember, this is not a city park. This is owned by an individual who graciously lets us use the land, a gentleman who's a member of Messiah Baptist. All of the money that we raise is by volunteers and by donations. No city funds go into the park, and we have a great turnout all year long. And you know, our neighbors at Firestone are so great. They let us run a hose from the spigot, so on the days we're allowed to water, we water.
mayor carpenter and some state officials came together at the park, and they had some interesting news to share. Oh, let's take a look.
They picked a great spot here.
Yeah, I just line up the other two, so yeah.
Greening the Gateways is this program is going to plant about 2,400 trees into one specific section of the city over the next 3 years. So there'll be, I believe, spring and fall planting seasons, about 800 trees a year. From here, going straight south, basically down through Camp Hello is how I would describe it. It's a quality of life issue. It's going to improve the quality of life in neighborhoods. It's going to offer energy efficiencies, both in cooling season, the shade from the trees are going to save energy on cooling costs. In the wintertime, saves on heating costs. There's lots of other environmental benefits. It purifies the air, makes the air cleaner and healthier to breathe. Helps us with drainage and water, stormwater runoff issues as the trees all grow and develop root systems. So there are environmental benefits, there's quality of life benefits, and there's energy saving benefits. They all come by something that seems as simple as planting trees, but it's planting enough of the trees, the right trees, all within the same area to have the effect.
Well, the nice thing with 2,400 trees too is you're improving the microclimate. That's enough of an impact with trees and tree cover that you're really improving the air quality in measurable ways.
The aesthetic benefits, there's the energy efficiency benefits, the wildlife habitat benefits, and then just that special connection people have to trees. I think there's no question that the city will greatly benefit from 2,400 trees over the next few years.
The majority of these trees will actually go on private property. So even though we're putting the symbolic one here in this Finnegan Park, I think roughly about 20% of the trees will go on public property, but about 80% of the trees will actually be planted on private property.
They care for the trees, they help water them and so forth. So it makes this a community building project in many ways.
The priority here is going to be large canopy shade trees, like you see in this area. Again, the shade growing up will cover those houses. Again, those older housing stock like we have a lot of here in New England, trying to get the energy efficiencies from outside of the home. Having a larger renter population, also they don't have the incentives to join some of these other energy efficiency programs that are using rebates. It's not their home, so they're not putting in the insulation. So the trees provide that insulation from the outside, the shade through the windbreak, and not only that, they provide all those environmental benefits that the commissioner's been talking about, providing all those things that the entire neighborhood needs. So planting these trees on a neighborhood scale are the important part of this program.
Earth Day will be our annual Keep Brockton Beautiful Day, and we'll have hundreds of volunteers spread out across the city, picking up trash, whacking weeds, cleaning up neighborhoods, vacant lots, street side, everything. Also some focus on some of the ball fields and playgrounds that now come back to life at this time of year.
Oh man, this city is beautiful, and you, the citizens of Brockton, are keeping it that way. There's a lot of great things happening in the City of Champions. Make sure to get involved and stay tuned for other service projects. They'll be coming to you from One North Main. To learn more about Brockton Community Access, please visit our website at bcatv.org. You can also check out our YouTube page, youtube.com/the Brockton Channels, all one word.